Am I the a-hole for requesting my best friend be at the birth of my child instead of my husband? So I, 25 female, have been best friends with Eric, 25 male, since we started kindergarten. He was there throughout everything, even spied from the next table when me and my 26 male husband went on our first date, and I did the same when he started dating his wife. I was the first person he called when his wife found out she was pregnant both times, and even while she was in labor, I helped him by text. So April, when I suspected I was pregnant, he was with me when I read the results of my test. Even helped me plan a cute way to tell my husband. We have been each other's rock, and I couldn't think of anyone better than him and my husband to be there while I'm in labor. But unfortunately, if things keep happening the way they do, I'll be only able to have one person in the room with me, and that person will be Eric. He was on board, and I planned to tell my husband when I knew for sure. At the moment, it's normal rules, but obviously things can change over a bug issue at any time. But Eric's wife found out and showed up at my house, screaming for a paternity test because she believes the baby's his. It's 1000% not. My husband was in shock and told me he's sick of third-wheeling our relationship, then packed a bag then left. Eric also sent me a text saying he wants to be with me when I go into labor, and he will be limiting our contact from now on. I'm honestly in shock at the events and have gotten so much hate. Now for the comments. You're the a-hole. Do you even love your husband? Is that his child too? I feel like your friend is the father if you'd rather want him in the room. There are definitely times when having someone other than the father of the child be in the room is okay. For example, abusive, no longer together, can't handle the sight of the process, generally squeamish, not a very good comforter, etc. Those things happen. But there's certainly a list of okay substitutes and not okay substitutes. A doula? Sure. Your mom? Go right ahead. Your platonic opposite sex best friend when you're still married? Laughing my butt off. You're the a-hole. Platonic opposite sex BFF, whose wife thinks your baby is actually an affair baby? Massive, you're the a-hole. She went nuclear for a reason. Your husband has a third person in the marriage. Eric. Eric's wife has a third person in the marriage. You. Look, I have a guy best friend and he's literally like my brother, and I tell him lots of things and he's a huge cheerleader of mine. However, I also have boundaries with him. I wouldn't be telling him I was pregnant over my own significant other first. I wouldn't be expecting him to be calling me as his wife was in labor. Like really, get your wife to the hospital, duh. You all can be close, but clearly both of your spouses feel like you have overcrossed a lot of lines. Why did you even marry your husband? Why did Eric even marry his wife? You're the a-hole. This comment is spot on. The part that jumped out to me was that Eric has decided to limit contact in order to maintain his marriage. That means he understands that there is a line you don't cross when it comes to marriage versus friendship. But she is still clueless. If she had said that her husband will be an absolute nightmare in the delivery room based on past experience, I would kinda understand. If not, she is taking away a significant life experience from him. You're the a-hole. Holy moly. You always have the right to choose who you want in the delivery room with you. However, if you choose someone that is your life partner, what does that say about your relationship with him? What does that say about how you feel around them? If you don't feel safest and or trust the individual who you are married to, and the father of your child, then what exactly are you doing here? Is husband your beard? A sap who you can use as a shield to deflect any accusations of having an emotional affair with Eric in front of his wife's face? Your husband is right, and ironically, he is literally the third wheel in his own marriage. Yuck. I'd seriously contemplate things at this point too. But I feel so awful for your husband. He deserves to be with someone who puts him first and wants him there for the birth of his child. I hope your future ex-husband finds someone who wants to be a partner in life and parenting, because you obviously don't. Sorry, but I think you're getting everything you deserve. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my parents to be anything more than guests in my wedding? I, 27 female, am the only child of an only child, my mom, and the son of a single woman, my dad, and we are firmly middle class. When I was 8, my aunt, her husband, and my nana were in a fatal car accident. As a result, my cousins, 6 male triplets, were taken in by my parents. Up until then, my mom was a teacher, but with the kids and all they needed, intensive therapy and constant reassurance, she quit her job to be a stay-at-home mom. My dad got a small inheritance from my nana that he used to pay off the house. As for my aunt's life insurance and her husband's, they were split into 3 and put in college funds for my cousins. From ages 8 to 13, my parents were too focused on my cousins that they forgot they had a daughter, and the money was so tight that I had to quit all of my hobbies. Because my cousins' hobbies were expensive and that they needed to make sure that they maintained the same standard of living for them. At 13, my maternal grandparents sat me down. They said that my parents drained my college fund, and that they were threatened by my parents of no contact if they tell me, but that I was old enough to keep the secret. They also said that they will be giving me what they could when I go to college. I guess that was it for me. I stopped seeing my parents as anything more than an egg and sperm donor at the point. Fast forward to when my cousins started going to college, and I guess my parents remembered that they had a kid, but I wasn't interested in having a relationship with them beyond an occasional phone call. Now I'm about to get married. I asked my grandpa to walk me down the aisle and my grandma to take on the traditional mother of the bride role for me. Then, because I'm direct like that, I handed my parents their invites in person and told them that they are welcome only as guests or not at all. They got angry, and when they asked why, I just laid it out on them. And now they're trying to apologize, but it is too little too late for me. My cousins contacted me trying to make me take it back, offered me what was left in their college fund since they didn't know that I didn't have one, to make it fair. I refused, of course. It's more the emotional neglect that hurts, not the money. But a friend said that I was too harsh, that I should forgive and forget. So am I the a-hole? Your parents are lucky you invited them. I hope you can have separate relationships with your cousins though. We do have a relationship. I never held it against them and they are genuinely nice people. I'm so sorry. This should never have happened to you. But I'm so glad you have your grandparents. Not today, Hall, and I'm happy you're honoring them on your day. Congrats on your upcoming wedding. I hope it's a beautiful day. I do have to add, your cousins didn't know, so maybe at some point you won't be mad at them, if even you are. Thank you for the congratulations, and I don't hold it against my cousins. They were actually going to be part of the wedding, but after some discussions, they preferred not to smooth things with the parents. Not today, Hall. It was really nice of your cousins to offer to make things fair. But it's not on them. They couldn't control what happened to them or how your parents treated them. That was your parents' job. It's understandable that they prioritized your cousins at first to make sure they were all settled in and recovering. But lying to you about your college fund and using it behind your back was awful, to be honest. Ultimately, they'll have to live with it as it is your wedding and your choice. Honestly, I don't even care about the college fund. It was a lack of care. Making me give up my bedroom. Refusing me therapy because I didn't need it. Not like your cousins. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that she has always had it easy? Me, 25 female, and my sister, 25 female, were very close when we were young, but things changed when our father passed away and our mother had to raise us alone. She, according to me, has always favored my sister over me. It wasn't blatant favoritism, she still cared for me and loved me, but my sister was allowed to go to school dances, dye her hair, wear expensive makeup, buy expensive dresses, things which I wasn't allowed to do. My sister changed, and during middle school she became the popular girl, while I was the nerd. She often ridiculed me during school and I complained to my mother about this. She comforted me but never really did anything about the situation. All of this built up resentment for my sister inside me. Every day when I went to school, I had to face her torment. However, I convinced myself that what she was doing right now didn't matter. That I would end up happier in life because I worked way harder than she did and would end up successful. I got into my dream college after school, and my mother was really happy for me. But at the same time, my sister had failed in some of her subjects and had to repeat the year, so my mom didn't want to go out for dinner to celebrate since it would upset my sister. Fast forward a couple of years, and my sister is getting married to a very rich man. I was very happy for her and attended her wedding. I had a job and was doing pretty good for myself financially, but was under a lot of stress due to high working hours. While I was talking to my sister, she said to me and her friends how sad it must be for me to have worked so hard for all those years and still be so unhappy with my life, while she was enjoying hers. She told me that I should have worked smart like her instead of working hard. I got very angry at her and told her that failing school and then deciding to drop out of college was not working smart, and that not everyone was as lucky as her to be born with a pretty face and get married to a rich guy they met on Tinder, even though she herself was a loser. After that, I left. Later, I got a call from my mom telling me that my sister started crying after what I said to her, and that it ruined my sister's special day due to my jealousy. She told me not to show my face to her before I was ready to apologize. What my mom said was definitely true. My mom's subtle favoritism towards her popularity in school, the fact that she has a husband and I'm lonely, And the fact that I have to work hard all my life and still work 12 hours a day to earn money, while she gets served everything on a silver platter while sitting at home, has made me very jealous of her. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. She'll be divorced in a few years, and you'll have all the success you worked so hard for. Your happiness isn't dependent on someone else's misery, but on taking ownership of your own life and being satisfied with who you are and what you're able to accomplish. Not the a-hole. Your sister rubbing her success in your face while demeaning your hard work is horrible. And like the previous comment said, she will likely be replaced once her hubby finds the next pretty face, especially if she has the personality and entitlement you describe. Hopping on the top comment to suggest that you consider therapy. You admit that you are jealous and lonely, and you clearly have resentment towards your family due to bullying and neglect. Now is the time to live your life. Living well is the best revenge. So see if there are avenues to help you with your issues, so that all those bad moments from the past don't intrude on the life you are building for yourself now. Something to consider, OP. Part of therapy may be to go low contact or even no contact with your sister and mother. Seems like you've really struggled with identity issues due to the favoritism. As far as marriage goes, when you find the right person, chances are you will, it will have more substance than your sister's marriage. She seems very materialistic and relies too heavily on physical appearance. But at some point, her looks will fade and or her husband will stop dealing with her entitlement unless she changes. Focus on yourself. Find hobbies to distract you from the BS. As far as your employment goes, making money is great, but you have to ask yourself, is the money worth the stress? If you can say yes, great. Chances are you'll say no and you should seek new employment. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom that I can't wait to move out and leave her with my siblings? This post might run long, but there's some backstory required. So I, female 25, currently live with my parents along with my siblings, female 26 and male 23. None of us pay rent because my parents want us to save up. Both my sister and I have full-time jobs after going to university and have stable careers. My brother was spoiled since he was young and dropped out of college twice and currently works with my dad, meaning he goes to work when he feels like it, once a week and for 1 hour. Other than that, he doesn't do anything in the house and sleeps all day, and neither does my sister. Alongside my mom, I cook and clean for them, since I know how to as I was the only one who moved out for college. My mom or dad don't force them to do anything, so they don't. They don't know how to cook or clean. They also have no plans to move out, whereas I do once I save enough money. I keep trying to tell my parents that they need to force my sister and brother to grow up, and that they can't be so reliant on them for basic necessities that an adult should be able to do for themselves. But my parents are adamant that it's fine. Here's where it got really bad. I was in a work meeting and I was stressed out, and my parents asked me to make dinner for my siblings. And I said I couldn't and that my siblings can easily get dinner started. She said no because my brother was sleeping at 6 p.m. and my sister was at home. I said this is getting too ridiculous and that I can't wait to move out so that my parents can deal with their adult children alone. I told them to not come whine to me when my siblings are 40 and still living at home. I feel terrible because my parents do a lot for me too, but I feel like the Cinderella of this story, and I feel taken for granted because I know how to survive as an adult. Not the a-hole. Your parents needed to hear that. Hopefully it will sink in. Besides, there's a difference between helping your parents who helped you versus leaving for two lazy adult children who haven't done anything for you. Honestly, this is ridiculous. They want you to cook for a 26-year-old and a 23-year-old? Are they toddlers? You are right that your parents are in for a hell of a time once you move out. If they had been under my grandma, she would have kicked them. Start cooking normal meals for you and your parents and kid meals for your siblings. Tiny servings of frozen chicken nuggets and chips, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, microwave mac and cheese. And for maximum effect, get them a cheap plastic kid meal toy each. Yeah, I'm petty. Not the a-hole. The truth hurts. You should fast forward your plans to get out of there. Your peace of mind will thank you. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for asking my son on my parents' behalf to stop speaking his native language? I am originally from Egypt, but moved to Sweden after I unintentionally became pregnant while on vacation several years back. My parents were enraged at the news, since I wasn't married to the father of my child, so I decided to separate from them and move to Sweden and married my husband. We now have a son, 15, and our cat. I recently convinced my husband and son to move to Egypt, and things have been a little rough. Our son has been fighting me left and right. One of the main reasons I wanted to move back was because my parents and I have made peace, but they do not want any Swedish spoken in their presence as it isn't their language. My son knows Arabic as a second language, but he refuses to speak it when he doesn't have to, instead speaking in Swedish for most of the time. My parents have told me they don't like it, and I don't like it either. I find it disrespectful and I feel like Sweden isn't part of our lives anymore. So I asked my son if he could stop speaking the language, at least not constantly. He called me Nihal and hasn't spoken to me. I don't want to involve my husband because he's been very stressed lately. I hope someone sees my point of view. Now for the comments. This may be the post that earns A-Hall of the Week. Sweden is all your son has ever known. That's his entire life that you just appended to please your honestly awful parents. Saying that Sweden isn't part of our lives anymore is horrid. The world doesn't revolve around you or your desires. You sound like a narcissistic parent based on those comments, and your complete disregard for your son's emotional state. You're the a-hole. Exactly this. Sweden may no longer be part of your life, but it is very much of your son's life. It is all he has known until you persuaded your family to move to please your parents, who has suddenly had a change of heart and want to know you. Sweden will also be part of her life in the future. Her husband is Swedish. Unless they fully cut contact with his family and all friends from the past 16 years. Pretty sure Sweden will be her son's entire life when he escapes her in 2 to 3 years.